What I actually think is going to age like fine wine, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion. What I think is going to age like fine wine is Hey guys, it's Phoebe. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about current fashion trends, current things that are trending that I think are going to age like milk, and other ones that I think will age like fine wine. And obviously, this is just an opinion video, and this is just for fun, so don't take these things too seriously. I think that if you partake in any of these trends, whether I say that I think they're going to age like milk or age like fine wine, please keep wearing them. This is just for fun. And also, the ones that I talk about that I think will age like fine wine, do not mistake that for me saying that they're timeless, because that would go against the entire purpose of this video, which is talking about trends specifically. And as for the ones that will age like milk, I'm not saying that they'll never come back. Trends always come back around. I'm just saying that we went maybe a little too far with these ones, and they might not last as long. They might not stay trendy for as long. People might stop wearing them soon. Whereas the ones that I think will age like fine wine will maybe keep coming back around more often and stick around for longer each time. The first trend that I think is going to age like milk is bloomers. And this is one that I actually like. So please understand that this isn't just me saying trends I like and trends I dislike. I actually quite like the trend of bloomers, but I do think that they're going to age like milk because of the fact that they're so unfunctional, and what their actual function used to be is underwear. I think we're going to look back on this and think that it's kind of weird that we just wore like old-timey underwear as outerwear. And I know that clothes evolve and we evolve with like what we're comfortable wearing and comfortable showing. And I guess this is kind of similar to the fact that now we wear slip dresses as regular dresses, or, you know, silky, cami, lacy tops as regular tops, even though they used to just be like PJs or underwear. So I guess you could put bloomers into that category as well. But I think the way we've been wearing bloomers with like riding boots and very like functional boots is kind of a weird pairing to me, and it does fall into that juxtaposition trend that I think you can either take or leave. It's fun sometimes, but other times it's just kind of weird. And I'm just saying, I think this is one that we're going to look back on and think was kind of strange. What I do think is going to age a little bit better is just regular cotton micro shorts. Micro shorts are obviously still very trendy. I'm not saying they're timeless, but I think they will age better because they're just the most simple version of what they can be. They're not anything that I think we're going to look at and cringe at or roll our eyes at. Again, it's all about the styling. Certain ways that we style micro shorts maybe we'll cringe at, but micro shorts themselves, just regular plain ones, I don't think that you can say are that crazy, even though this is the first time in a while that a big group of fashion girlies are comfortable wearing such short and tight shorts as like daily wear. So for that reason, I don't think, you know, they're widely loved, and I don't think that they're timeless necessarily, but I do think that there's nothing we're going to cringe at about them in the future. And one more thing about the cotton micro shorts, I do think with those you can get away with playing around with juxtaposition a little bit more by styling them with boots. That's how a lot of people have been styling them lately. And I think that this is a little bit more understandable and palatable than the boots with the bloomers trend, because even though it is juxtaposing that like little teeny short that's for summer weather with a boot that's not necessarily for summer weather, I think there's nothing offensive visually about the combination between the two. You could still say that it's functional for, you know, a warmer spring day or fall day or a cooler summer night. Whereas with the bloomers, I think the reason it's so out there to me, and I think that we're going to look back on it with a little bit more cringe in our hearts, is because not only are you juxtaposing the little mini short with the, you know, fall weather boot, but you're also juxtaposing something that is supposed to be underwear with something that's supposed to be really functional wear. Also, I do have wet hair right now, and I apologize for that. Don't yell at me. The next trend that I think is going to age like milk is tucking jeans into stiletto boots specifically. I have talked about in about the past 3 of my trend prediction videos, starting over a year ago, that I was predicting that tucking jeans into boots was going to come back into mainstream trend, and I feel like it finally has. And I see jeans tucked into boots in 2 different ways. And the way that I think is going to age like milk is tucking loose straight leg denim into tall stiletto boots. And this is another one that I do actually really like the look of, and I think it's so fun for like going out to a bar or going out to dinner or something like that. But I do think it It is a little bit strange on the eyes and functionally. Usually when you're wearing a pair of like crisp, straight leg, loose denim, you would associate that with more functional casual wear. And again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with playing with juxtaposition and balance a little bit, with pairing that with something a little bit more fancy, like a stiletto boot. But I think visually it's a little bit strange because you're tucking that looser jean into a boot, you know, kind of giving pirate vibes, as well as that juxtaposition. I think what works better is, you know, a little kitten heel under a jean. And the side of tucking jeans into boots trend that I do think will age like fine wine is the more palatable, functional version, which is just tucking your jeans into a riding boot or, you know, a flat boot or rain boots. Any version of a flat boot that is a little bit more functional, that will always look and feel normal and understandable paired with a crisp denim. And I'm not necessarily saying that outfits that are super functional are always going to be better than outfits that, you know, play with juxtaposition a little bit more and lean into an aesthetic look rather than a function. But what I am saying is that usually the ones that make a little bit more sense, the trends that just inherently make a little bit more sense, are the ones that are going to end up coming back around time and time again and last a little bit longer and might stay in someone's personal style forever. Whereas the ones that are, you know, super fun to experiment with and look really cool and, you know, you can wear in kind of niche occasions where you get to dress how you want to dress without having to worry so much about function, those are the ones that I think aren't as likely to stay in our personal style forever and come back around into mainstream trend quite as often as the former. The next trend that I think is going to age like milk is ballet flats with excessive hardware. I think a ballet flat is a pretty timeless shoe, relatively speaking. I don't think anything is really timeless, but there's nothing offensive about a plain ballet flat. It's just a very simple version of a very simple silhouette of shoe that people have been wearing for centuries. And I think it's really fun that they've come back into trend. But the side of the ballet flat trend that I think will age a little bit badly, I guess, and that I think people will get sick of quickly is ballet flats with excessive hardware or ballet flats with animal print. Something like this where you're kind of aggressively combining two trends, I think is very likely to go out of trend faster and get worn out faster. I think, yes, we have a desire to fit in some sense, but in another sense, I think a lot of us who appreciate fashion kind of have an individuality complex. And while it's fun to play into the trends, I think that a lot of us get sick of them quickly, especially when there are multiple stacked on top of each other. So when we have something trendy, peak trendy right now, the ballet flat, and you add something else that's trendy like hardware, grommets, animal print, a square toe, or a completely pointed toe, all of these trendy elements combine into one thing. I think that's something that we are likely to get sick of faster. But a total caveat or contradiction in my theory is that what I actually think is going to age like fine wine, and this is going to be a very unpopular opinion, what I think is going to age like fine wine is tabby ballet flats, specifically the ones without the strap, just a normal tabby ballet flat. And again, I'm not saying that they're timeless. I know that they are peak trendy right now and they're very unique, which makes them more likely to be a trend than something timeless. But I do think that a tabby ballet flat is something that we're going to look fondly back on and maybe repeat many times over in the future. Hardware and the split toe feature of a ballet flat are both really trendy additions, but I think that hardware can easily look really cheap, whereas the split toe feature is not an addition of a material, it's just a change in shape. And it dates back to 15th century Japan. It's peak trendy right now, but it's actually a very classic shape. And I just think that there's such a big cultural phenomenon right now that they're going to be remembered forever. There is no doubt that people are going to start hating them soon, and I think most people already do. But I think if we wait long enough, they will be reappreciated like an aged fine wine. The next trend that I think is going to age like milk are low-waisted wide leg jeans or low-waisted bare barrel leg jeans. And this is kind of a more subtle version of what I was talking about before, which is combining two trends. And the two trends in this would be the wide leg or the barrel leg plus the low waist, the ultra low waist. Those are two things that are really trendy right now. I have pairs of these pants. I have like 3 of them. So again, I'm not knocking anyone. I'm not going to get rid of mine. I am not saying I hate them. I'm just saying I think this is a trend that is going to be put to bed a little bit quicker, and I'm sure it'll come back. But what I do think is going to age like fine wine is just a mid-rise bootcut jean. And we're finally seeing these come back into trend. This is another one that I talked about in my trend predictions video a while ago. I seem to be like a year early to all of my trend predictions, and that is not a flex because I know that everything will eventually come back around. So no matter what you can possibly conjure up and predict as an upcoming trend, it will come back. You just might be a few months early or a year early or 5 years early, and you'll always be right eventually. But with something like a mid-rise bootcut jean, even though it is starting to trend right now, it's the most classic version of a jean. It really is, because everything is a happy medium. A mid-rise is a happy medium between a low-rise and a high-rise, obviously. A bootcut leg is a happy medium between a wide leg or a flare versus a straight leg or a skinny jean. You can get away with tucking them into boots if you want to because they're not super huge at the bottom, but you can also get away with putting them on the outside of your shoes like they're probably meant to be worn. And because they're the most basic middle-of-the-road version of what they can be, they're very flattering on pretty much everyone, which I'm sure people aren't going to agree with, but that's my opinion. It's my opinion. The next trend that I think is going to age like milk is sportswear with occasion wear, i.e. the bloquette trend. Bloke coquette, I believe, is the 2 words that make up bloquette. This is one of the trends that I think is going to age like milk because of how far down the juxtaposition rabbit hole it goes. It's often accompanied by a lot of layering and a lot going on when you are already doing a lot by combining a legitimate sportswear material and cut and pattern and whatever, a literal jersey with occasion wear such as like a bubble skirt and heels or something like that. Even the Adidas track pants with a white blouse, I think will age like milk. I've talked about before that I actually don't mind that version of it because usually those outfits don't quite hit the level of bloquette that a lot of people hit. And I think this one is self-explanatory. It just doesn't make sense, and that's totally fine, and it's fun to experiment with things that don't make sense. It's fashion. There are no rules. But it's just for that reason that I think it's going to age like milk, and it's going to be one of those ones that we look back and cringe on, and it'll probably come back around one day in a different form, and we'll probably eat it up again and then get sick of it again. What I don't think is going to age like milk, and what I think is going to age quite nicely, is just the toned down version of that, which is mixing casual pieces with occasion wear. Even some athleisure with more nice, fancier pieces. I think this is still a big trend. People have been playing with this forever, of course, mixing something a little bit casual with something a little bit more dressed up, but I do think it's been more of a mainstream conscious choice recently. And I think it'll age a lot better because it does have this level of balance and contrast that makes it visually interesting, but without interrupting function completely and creating this very large scale, intense visual tension that bloquette can sometimes create. The next trend that I think is going to age like milk are giant reading glasses, whether that's giant square plastic frame reading glasses or aviator style reading glasses. And I think the reason this trend irks me, and again, this is my opinion / not all of my trends that age like milk are ones that I hate. I actually like a lot of them, but this is one that I don't like. And I think the reason I don't like it and the reason that I think it's going to age badly is because these are sunglasses shapes. These big square frames are usually for sunglasses. Aviators are usually for sunglasses. And I think that changing it up and making them into readers instead is just like, you know, the fashion industry trying to reinvent the wheel and create something new and trendy, which again can be fun, but I do think it's not really going to last. I don't have anything against big glasses frames, but these giant ones just like read sunglasses with the frames punched out to me. And I'm not as much a fan. What I do think is going to age a lot better, that is arguably an even bigger trend right now, are readers that are just smaller, like regular, small, ovular or rectangular readers that have either a thin plastic frame or a wire frame. And that might be silly to call a trend because it's such a functional piece. But if you have been online and you're a fashion lover, you understand just how rampant this trend is running right now, specifically making these glasses part of an outfit rather than just using them to read or to see properly. And that is the very reason why I think they're going to age like fine wine, is because they're so functional. They're such a simple version of what they are. And I think they're kind of nostalgic. And I think that this whole trend is based on the fact that, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to be fashionable. You can just wear something very functional and understated and something that's not necessarily considered super interesting or fashionable. And it can still look very interesting and fashionable day to day. And the last trend that I think is going to age like milk is this trend of excessive layering tons of jewelry, tons of clothing pieces, mixing a ton of patterns while you're layering, creating a very busy outfit. I understand that this is kind of a whole style in itself, but it has become a lot more trendy recently. And I think the reason that I think this one isn't going to age very well is just because it kind of seems like a little bit of a thoughtless cheat code to get a trendy looking outfit, just piling and layering as much as you possibly can to create a very eclectic look. And I think that this can be done well, but I think a lot of what I see of super excessive layering is, again, just kind of a cheat code to try to achieve that final outcome of having a very busy, very eclectic outfit. And I think it's really hard to do that well when you're combining that many elements. And so I feel like as an overall mainstream trend, this is one that I think we're going to look back on and cringe a little bit, even if, like I keep saying, it might come back around later in maybe a slightly varied form. What I do think is going to age like fine wine is more functional layering. And you might be like, but that's not a trend. That's just normal to do functional layering, like a t-shirt under a sweater or, you know, socks poking out of your loafers. But you have to really remember that even when something sounds really classic, nothing is timeless. This wasn't always the trendy way to do it. Nowadays, we do mostly see jumpers and sweaters styled with a high neck t-shirt poking out of the top, when before we used to maybe wear a v-neck sweater with nothing underneath it. Same with the socks situation. We used to not want to see our socks when we wore trainers or sneakers or whatever. We would wear super small ankle socks that would barely stick out, whereas now people like the crew sock look. Same with even last time ballet flats were trending or loafers were trending, we would wear, you know, those like invisible socks that only covered your toes. And nowadays, we see people layering socks with their ballet flats, with their Mary Janes, with their loafers. This kind of layering has come back around because it's functional and it makes sense. And I don't think it's anything that we could possibly roll our eyes at later. Maybe one day doing the bearskin under the v-neck sweater will come back in, or doing the no-show socks thing will be back in. But I don't think we're going to look back on this functional layering trend an era and have anything to cringe at it about. Yeah, so that's my last one. But before I end the video, I did want to give a little update, because if you've been following me for a long time, you know how long I've been looking for a bra that doesn't feel like a bra, but that will function as one. And this is not sponsored. This is me just giving an update because the brand Organic Basics just sent me a few to try out and I ended up loving them. Again, they're not paying me to say this, but they did send the bras to me. So I just wanted to give a little PSA in case anyone was on this journey with me. They sent me their Core Unlined Demi Bra, which is just this really simple underwire bra that has zero padding, which I love because the underwire gives you a tiny bit of support, but it doesn't feel like a bra because there's no padding, and I like that look and that feel better for myself. So they sent me that in that tan color, this lighter beige color, and black. And then this is their Soft Touch Veil Triangle Bralette in the color Time. This one I feel like gives even more support than the Unlined Demi army bras, but is so comfortable because there's no underwire in that one. And then they sent me the mesh triangle bralette, and this is the color lilac. Love this one as well. So thank you so much to Organic Basics for sending me those. Once again, this isn't sponsored, but thank you to them. And they did send me a discount code if you guys want to use it. It's Phoebe Taylor for, I believe, 10% off of their website. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to. And with that, I'll see you guys again in a few days for another one. Bye guys.